Good evening and welcome to the solo exhibition of French artist Achao. Here, first time here in Assisi, second solo exhibition in Italy, a land he loves a lot. And in this spirituality of this Umbrian town, he wants to invite the public to stop and to start reflecting on the problems of the contemporary life with this noise, with these fast rhythms, which constrict him to detach from his interiority. And this is the problem of contemporary man. So the artist in general, with their sensibility, could be a means to help the observer and the art lovers to keep in contact with these emotions, with this spirituality, with this real being, and to explain what was Achao now. For me, it's impossible not to start from the past of the history, of the modern history of art, because he's now an abstract expressionist. But we cannot explain abstract expressionism and his path into art without remembering what happened at the start of the 20th century. That is to say that detachment, complete detachment from classical rules and the figurative way of making art and perspective and the chiaroscuro and everything that was tied to the realism, with a turning out of this style, starting to create something new, starting to put in evidence the real essence of art that didn't need to be attached to reality, didn't need to be tied to figurative force or through the subjectivity of the artist, because the pureness of the creative act was what had to be put in evidence. And in this period born the abstractionism, which was so important for styles as the still suprematism and geometric abstractionism, where the rationality was the primary, the rationality and also the analysis, almost scientific approach to art, to underline the importance of the creative act. In the same period, it was born also another movement, another very important movement, in which, while detaching from the classical rules, academic rules of reality, the most important thing was the emotion, the strong emotion, described in a strong way, with strong colors to underline how important were these sensations. I'm obviously talking about expressionism, which has different different way of expressing, because we have the strong emotions, the fear, the anxieties, the pains described from artists such Edward Munch, and another dreamy approach, as if everything was a fairy tale, as Marc Chagall, which were two masters of expressionism, with a different way of interpreting the importance of emotions. And it is natural that in that period so dynamic, so vital for art, it was normal that before or after these two styles had to mix, to meet and to mix themselves. And this happened about 1950 in United States with abstract expressionism, a movement where the detachment from the form, from the reality, was so important as the expressing of emotions, at the point that these were the real guidelines of the movement. And one of the great masters of the past who followed these changes through his artistic life was Henri Matisse, who was first fauve, so as the very first expressionism with strong colors, it was so strong as to be defined beast, because fauve in French language means beast. Then passing to expressionism, and the final of his artistic career, he moved to abstractionism, an abstractionism more serene, where he came back in contact with nature, with simple things of life. And Achao ties and takes inspirations from Henri Matisse, the final Henri Matisse, because he started his career with an expressionism, but where there were still present expressionist elements from classical inspiration, as for example the athletes from Greek, but also of the theory of the movement elaborated by Edward Muybridge, a master of photography, who was the first one to study the movement, to think about the possibility of the movement in photography and so in art. Achao has begun with this expressionist style and with this more figurative style, then passing to abstractionism, as we can see in this immersive exhibition, because the importance that Achao wants to underline is to stay in silence and keep in contact with one's own interiority, because to understand what happens outside is important to understand what happens inside, to listen to oneself, to start observing and letting be transported by these wonderful artworks, where with abstract forms, sometimes as rounded, sometimes more squared, but always in movement. When you let themselves be more fluid, more akin to the movement of the truth, of the reality, of the things that happens in life, because it's only not resisting them that we can start evolving, thinking about what they left inside of us, all the events which happened, and at the same time understanding why did they happen. And this fluid movement seems to be connected or to be close to Claude Monet Waterlilies, as for example that canvas, and this significance is more underlined by this big canvas where Achao doesn't use frames because he wants to invite people to be involved by these atmospheres and underline more and more also the Heraclitus theories of everything flows, everything is changing, because life, if you let yourself go to life and to know yourself better, you won't be afraid to be transported by events, because you're in your balance, and this is important to resist, to change, because transformation is the essence of life. And only with this atmosphere of silence, of spirituality, is possible to find a new way of living life, to remember, to remain human. And this is a path that Achao did thanks to this closeness to Buddhism. In fact, there are artworks dedicated in a stylized way to Damek Stupa of Sarnak in India, and because he wants to help people to reflect, to meditate, to find back his individuality in a world where that seems to go fast, to suggest, to obtain things, to obtain materials, but forgetting the individuality. And the colors, this is an optical illusion, because the color seems to be tender from far, but when you close to the artwork, they are strong. So the magic of Achao's art is this one, is to mix colors to let you be involved with this tenderness and with this movement, to underline the movement, the continuous movement of life and reality. So, Achao, who is here with us, thank you Achao for this wonderful exhibition. He's an abstract expressionist, and he's very, very important to have him here in Umbria, my region, and in Italy once again, because we need to keep in contact with our spirituality, with our individuality, and thank you Achao for letting us be embraced by your artworks.
Many thanks, Marta, for your comments.
You're welcome. And I invite you, the exhibition will be opened from from the 21st of June until the 27th
Correct.
of June. And you can visit Assisi if you're here, and you can see Achao in his Facebook page, Achao Art. And the ones who are close to Assisi, we wait for you here or later at 18:30 for the direct Facebook, or next days with Achao.
Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Bye.
Goodbye.